Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Daily Racing Form YouTube. I'm Gino Buccola alongside Ashley Mailloux with producers Bobby and Vinny helping us out as we get you ready for the Sunday race of the day this week. It's over at Woodbine. Let's take a look at the field for this one. It's going to go as race number 8 on Sunday, August the 2nd. Optional 50, non-winners of 2, going 7.5 furlongs on the turf course. And looking at the field, Ashley, I thought that the 2 Chaos Agent, just coming off of the races that he exits, right? He broke his maiden at Gulfstream, and then they tried the Jeff Ruby Stakes. So I think off of the class relief, he's a horse who's going to get some support. I think you can also look to William T, who he's just got the 1 win in 8 starts, but now 3 consecutive runner-up efforts in a row. They're all pretty solid. He's going to try the turf for the first time. Wouldn't surprise me to see those 2 take a bunch of support in here.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, given the conditions, right? You're looking at non-winners of 2 life. It's a little bit of a struggle to go through because you will see horses at bigger prices here on the morning line, Gino, that they came to life last time out. It took them a while to break their maiden, but they did it on the inner turf course at Woodbine, and they did it quite nicely. So you have to factor that in. I agree with Chaos Agent. I mean, the debut, which we will take a look at in a little bit, suggest he might be the horse to beat in some ways. Obviously, things want to miss in his second start. And then William T, I really like him, but this is a different ball game for him, right? He's never tried the grass. He's going to go back to routing 2 turns at 7.5. Maybe that's what he needs to kind of get his second career victory, but he'll be a short price as well.
Yeah, and you're kind of hinting on this. Like, you don't want to take too short a price really on either one of them or anyone in this race because you can absolutely poke holes in them. Like, Chaos Agent has never been on the grass, neither has William T, and William T isn't necessarily a win machine either. So that's what, and you're pointing out, you have a couple of the horses who ran really well, but after a while, it just took them a while to break through. Will they build off of that, or do they go back to some of their more recent form, which wasn't all that consistent? Let's see what Timeform US thinks about this field with the pace projector. And one of the horses that is a tricky read in here is the one Maker's Flatter, because starts his career and he's 0 for 8 and he's in the maiden 40 claiming the claiming ranks. And it's not like he's running bad races, but he's just fine. Then first time on the grass, he wins by 7. He stumbles at the start about 5 lengths off and he makes this big move to the lead at the top of the lane, really without being asked. And then he crushes the field by 7+ lengths. And all of a sudden you wonder, wow, maybe that's what he wanted all along was the grass. So, I mean, they'll step him up in here and they'll face a tougher group. So he certainly will have to get better off of that. But it's a really nice performance.
It was a really nice performance. I looked at the stumble. Was it horrific? No, but
Now,
it's one of those things where it kind of breaks their stride for a second, right? Where they kind of try to get their footing underneath them. And then he was able to recover from there. But it does make you wonder, like, where does this race come from? He's always raced in blinkers, right? He did get a different rider. Saheen was aboard for the first time. But I don't know. He comes to life on the grass. He takes a step forward. Before that, he was consistently getting pieces, but not good enough. I don't know. I mean, at 10 to 1, I could be intrigued to use him.
sure, absolutely. We move to Chaos Agent, the number 2 in here. Just kind of feels like a starting over point for him because he breaks maiden in February, and he's so impressive in that race that off of the one race, they take a shot in the Jeff Ruby Stakes to see if they can get him Kentucky Derby points. He was only 6 to 1 in that race. Like that shows you he got bet in that race off of just the one maiden score. And he was just in too tough that day. Like, there's no problem putting a line right through that race, excusing it, and then just giving him a shot to start back over here. Now, his dam was 0 for 5 on the grass, didn't really run well on there, but 2 of 3 siblings to try the turf have won on it. Just looking at the class that he has and what he showed in that debut, and just for a barn like Josie Carroll, who knows where these horses stack up at Woodbine, I think he's going to run really well in here.
I do too. Not worried about the layoff here. A barn that can get them ready to roll off the freshening. And kind of looking at this performance, I mean, he breaks well, but he kind of dropped back a little bit early, was kind of just taking it, stride by stride, working towards making a move. Then he kicks on clear here by a length and a half. And he was cold on the tote board in here. I just thought visually it was a nice performance. I like the way that he strides to the wire. You talked about the Jeff Ruby. He took play in there, but you can see, he's pulled up in that race. We haven't seen him since then, but he's been training well. I think his work's free back in his most recent drill. They show a little bit of something in here. And I do wonder in terms of trip where he'll be. Timeform has him towards the front. I don't know. I mean, part of the factoring in, I guess, is some of these races, Gino, when horses have been forward, they've gone quite slow, and he comes out of a faster race early than some. I would envision him mid pack.
I agree. I think he's kind of handy. I think they'll sit mid pack and be super patient with him in here and give him every opportunity to just kind of get into his nice, comfortable stride and then pick a lane when they go inside or outside late. We move to Lover Boy Mo. He's only been on the turf twice. Most recently on July the 12th, he finished fourth in the same race that Golden Truth was third. He got stuck inside. He moved to the two path. It was kind of like a non-threatening fourth, chasing a lone speed winner, Ashley's Archer, who was the heavy favorite that day. What do you think about Loverboy Mo in here?
Yeah, he's a tough read for me. I mean, when he first got his career going, I mean, he was facing the plate horses, right? And the
Yeah.
Canadian Triple Crown types of Scorching, He's Not Joking, Notorious Gangster. And, he finally was able to put it together to back. I just feel like he took advantage of a paceless race and found himself on the lead for the first and only time in his career. And then last time out, he got that sort of similar trip where he's stalking with a couple horses in front of him, and Gino, he just doesn't have enough late foot. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I mean, there was pace in there to suggest he would make a move. I will say though, Ashley's Archer is a racehorse. I feel like if he's in here, he's your favorite or he's your second choice based on what he had been doing in the spots that he had been in his career. So maybe that group was harder and tougher last time out for Lover Boy Mo.
Maybe the slight cutback will help. I don't know how much he wants to pass horses, as you were kind of pointing out. Like his lone win came on the lead. He got a decent setup last time out, but maybe just the shorter distances give him more punch late in these races. We move to William T. Pretty tough to knock what he's done overall, and in particular his last three races. They're all pretty solid. They're all runner-up efforts. And what I do like is that he hasn't been your beaten favorite in those races, which show me that there's at least another horse or two that are good, that are strong, that are supposed to
Mhm.
be in there and run well. But this is going to be his first time on the turf. He does have a winning turf sib. And if he transfers the form from the synthetic over, he's got the best form, right? Like overall, the best body of work. So that's why you could see him being a short price in here. We'll just see if he can transfer that form over, and how short of a price do you want to take? Honestly, like if they're comparable prices, like I'd prefer Chaos Agent and kind of the upside versus William T, who I sort of feel like who he is at this point, if they're kind of similar prices. But William T does feel like the measuring stick in this race.
Yeah, he's a tough read for me because I do think he has the ability. I think he's a nice little horse, but he just isn't winning a lot. But then I kept on going back to the fact that Gino, you look at his three route races, let's throw out the King's Plate. I think they're really good efforts where he's closed from off of it. And we talk about this sometimes. If you're closing in a route, do you close in a sprint necessarily the same way and vice versa? I don't think that always works. So
Yeah.
if you want to get to him here, I think it's the fact that he's going two turns and that might be better for him.
Moving to Bright Angel, finally put it all together last time out, breaking his maiden in his 13th start, and it was his seventh race on the grass. He got steadied a little bit early on, but he was full of run in that race. He kind of waited, he angled around 5 wide, and he kept grinding, and it was a nice visually looking W there. But he's one of those horses that you were kind of hitting on. Like, are you going to see the version of him last time out that was really good, or some of those races from earlier in his career that were fine, but they wouldn't be good enough to win a race like this? So that's why he's 15-1 on the morning line.
Yeah, and it was tough for me to kind of separate him and Maker's Flatter. I think looking at Bright Angel here, he does a lot right.
Yeah.
I mean, he rolls late, and it seemed like in his prior start, the field size, it was one less, right? But he was closer to it and he came up a little bit short. Here he was further off of it. And he's going to get up here and kind of gobble up the ground late. I mean, look at him. He strides right by here, Forever Frosty. He does it nicely. I actually thought it was a solid performance
Yeah.
considering his last two. They haven't been all that quick to the half. And I did feel like here, I don't know if there's a fast pace in here. I don't know if I agree with time for him, but I do wonder if he gets a little bit more to run at. Could he at least get a piece of this? I don't think it's impossible.
No, we will go over to Unbridled Weather, who's next up. His lone win came on the synthetic. He raced on July the 19th. He was right with the leaders early on. He was kind of all in early. He ended up chasing a lone speed winner that day, and he is one of the shorter prices on the morning line in here. I just don't really love some of the recent races from him. I do think this is a better spot, and you're going to go second start back off the long layoff. So I'm expecting a better performance from him, but I probably would want a little bit bigger of a price.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he's been all over the place. We're sprinting on the turf one day, we're sprinting on the Tapeta, then we're routing on the Tapeta, then we have a year off. I mean, you can give him a pass for his last out. It's actually funny. He went off favored in there, right?
Yeah.
Off that long layoff. He was only going 5 furlongs. So maybe you use that as a tightener for him, right? And now he should be better. He's probably fine getting this distance. I don't think it's going to be an issue. He was training well into his last race, but I don't like him at this price at all.
No, no way. I thought a fun, maybe interesting wild card could be Teleport, who's going to come into the Kevin Attard barn for the first time. I mean, you look at his overall body of work, his 4 races, the form is not bad. He was put up via DQ in his career debut. Then they put him in the Grade 2 Pilgrim, and he was just in a little bit tough there. But they dropped back into a softer stakes in his third start at Gulfstream. I thought he ran pretty well in that Armed Forces race. And then most recently on December the 7th, he was behind a horse named Alpiland, who is in awesome form right now. He's won 4 of his last 6. He races on Saturday at Colonial, I believe, in the Secretariat. And for Teleport, you get lots of firsts in here, right? He's going to come into the Attard barn for the first time. He's a first-time gelding. He's going to make his first start in 8 months. So a lot of things that you don't know about him, but he is kind of a wild card. And I think if he is in that 5-1 or above range, kind of a fair price, because from a class standpoint, I think he fits with this group, Ashley. It'll just be, is he ready to fire off the long layoff? You have some questions to ask, but I think he fits from a class standpoint.
So he's being listed as a gelding for the first time. You mentioned the barn switch. I think he's training quite well in his last 2 in terms of the times for him. I'm trying to envision the trip he has, and I got no idea. We'll find out on Sunday. I have no idea for the fact that he wins on debut via disqualification. And talk about crawling at Saratoga. Firm ground, 25-3, 51-3, 116-3, and a final time of 146 for a mile and a 16th. It's just, I don't know. And then you kind of look at his other efforts. I thought he was kind of chasing the pace, fell flat. And then more recently, I don't hate his last out effort. It's just, you would have liked to seen a race, right? And even the 2 in here is coming off of freshening. At least we saw him in the end of March. So it's going to come down to value here. This barn will have him ready to roll off the freshening. He's faced obviously tougher, but it's interesting to see him here.
Golden Truth will round out the body of the field. Comes off a 3rd place finish. He was in that July 12th race with Ashley's Archer. Good start. He backed off. I actually thought, he took a big shot at the favorite that day. He was 2nd. He tried to come after Ashley's Archer, and then he ends up fading and finishing 3rd late in the stretch there. So didn't mind the performance, but you can see with him now, it's been 4 straight races in a row at this level on synthetic, then on the turf where he's finished 3rd.
Yeah, it's like we've seen this story play out so many times, and it's the
Yep.
same ending, which is like most books, Gino, right? They all end the
Yeah.
same if you've read it multiple times. It's just, I give him a little credit because he did take a step forward in terms of his number. I think his turf races, I like some of them more. I think he might like the grass just a tad more, but it really depends. The one thing I wonder about here is pace and trip for him. I do think he will be forward. I don't know if they're going to go 46-4 in here, and now he's going to 7.5. I think, he could get a piece. He's certainly capable of it, but I can't use him high up. But consecutive times, going around 2 turns, that's nice to see.
Yeah, he was kind of like Bright Angel, maybe a little bit below Loverboy Mo, like these horses that ran well that you can build a case for. But I've got others stacked a little bit higher in here. Fine Style isn't also eligible in this one. So we round things out with selections for here. Ashley, how are we going to stack them up? Who'd you end up putting on top for the Sunday race of the day?
I went to the 2 in here, Chaos Agent. I mean, I looked at William T for a long time. I just thought this looked a little bit chalky and formful in terms of paper, right? So I think the 2 and the 4 are the logicals. We talked about Teleport maybe being intriguing, especially if he's nearer 6-1. And I told you, I don't like Unbridled Weather at 3-1, but from a pace perspective, you do wonder about horses like that, right? If he's forward in the 8, can either of them get a piece? They can probably sneak into the bottom of the super.
Yeah, we've got the same top three, just in a slightly different order. I'll put the price of teleport on top. I do think Chaos Agent is the one to beat. So when you're looking
Yeah.
at the shorter prices, if Chaos Agent is comparable to William T, I would definitely go in the direction of Chaos Agent. And then I threw in Maker's Flatter, who I really thought was very impressive first time on the turf there. So 2476 for Ashley, 7241 for me. We'd always love to hear from you. So make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, drop a comment in the comment section below. Let us know how you're playing the Sunday race of the day. Best of luck.